Hey guys, as some of you might know, I've been posting a reel every single day for 6 months now, and it's been quite a journey doing it. So I thought in this video I would cover a little bit about what's been going on, what the goal has been, why I did it, and what it's done for me moving forward. As you might have seen if you've gone to my Instagram, I have almost 60,000 followers now, and I can reveal already that I went from about, I think 2,500, 3,000 followers to that within almost 3 weeks. So let's cover that and move into it. I'll try and show a few screen grabs while I'm talking about some of the things as well, but I don't have that many screenshots of my previous following and insights, so I'll try and dig out what I can and show that on the screen, but otherwise we'll just have to talk through it. So first of all, let's have a look at the kind of timeline or periods that I've gone through. So I made this kind of visual to help guide through this video. So as you can see, I posted a reel every single day, and I've been editing a reel more or less every single day as well. There hasn't been many days where I've been scheduling something forward. So editing a reel every single day, posting it every single day. And the first thing was a mindset change. That was the first thing that was needed to kind of accomplish this and head into this. The second phase was just posting a reel every single day without seeing any kind of results. Like literally more or less nothing was happening. And I kind of expected that at the beginning, and I wasn't doing it to grow a following necessarily. So we'll cover that in a little bit as well. But there was a period of 2.5 months where basically nothing happened. Like I wasn't really growing that many followers, and it didn't really seem worth the time, if I'm honest, sometimes at least. But I was learning other things. So the idea of posting the reels itself on Instagram didn't really seem to too much. But what I learned in the background was really what's been worth it all the way through. So then after about 2.5, 3 months from starting this, all of a sudden everything just kind of blew up. I'd had a few reels go viral, and I'll show the first one that kind of went viral on my account here, but that went to above 1 million, which I think for some is a threshold of viral, I don't know. But then after 2.5, 3 months, everything just kind of exploded. I had 5 or 7 reels viral at the same time, just pushing and pushing and pushing. And one of them went above 6.5 million views, which is still a number to this day that is a bit insane to me. I can't really comprehend how many people that is. But basically when that reel went viral and a trending song, just pushing that reel all the way through, I grew from about 2.5, 3,000 followers to I think about 50,000 in 3 weeks. And when it was at its peak, the reach was 10 million accounts within that 1 month. So that was a number that still blows my mind. Quite incredible. But again, we're back to, there was 5 to 7 reels going viral at the same time. Nothing that I could really anticipate it, apart from posting a reel every single day and trying to make something that sort of stood out within a short time frame of making a reel every day, and still doing it every day without really having that much of a kind of a go towards necessary that happening and getting a lot of followers. Now we're in kind of like the last period that you see here is the aftermath that I've called it, which is that ever since everything slowed down, it took a while, like it was this curve going down, but it definitely happened and it was slowing down. And now it's about maybe 100 followers every 2-3 days, which is still more than happened before. All of this happened before I started or within the first 2.5 months. So it is better, but just to kind of lower the expectations that even though I got about 50,000 followers in 3 weeks, it kind of stagnates again. And I'm almost at 60,000 now, but that's an additional 3 months from all of that happening, or 2.5 months again. So you can't really expect things to just keep going up and keep going, keep having insane reach and everything, because if you post every day like I've been doing, things go up and down, and I don't have the full-time capacity to sit down and do the best reel that I can every single day. I'm kind of just trying to push out a lot of content to keep the algorithm happy, but also to learn more things in the background, and doing these short videos is really a great way of doing that. So that is the main thing that I've taken with me, but we'll get to that in the end of the video. So just to kind of go through the different phases a little bit more in depth, let's just dive into them. So let's zoom in here and go to the first one, which was the mindset change. So the mindset change that I had to go through was that I was mostly just a photographer and I wanted to get into videography, but it seemed a lot more challenging to get into videography for for several reasons. The first one was that I knew kind of how to do it, but it still seemed a bit overwhelming, and especially color grading and making the image look nice and getting it sharp and crisp was really hard for me in the beginning. Then I felt like I needed to have someone to shoot with. I thought that the shots that I could just do, like kind of like panning around stuff, they could look great, but they were still a little bit boring. So I needed some more content that I could push. And then I still had the mindset that everything I posted on Instagram had to be new. Everything had to be something that no one had seen before. And a realization I've had through this process have been that that's not true at all. Because when you look at the reach that I've had, the peak when I had 10 million accounts reach within 1 month, I think it was 10,000 of those were my followers. So meaning that 9,900,090 whatever big number was people that hadn't seen my account and my content before. Meaning that if I use the same video clips in different reels to different songs, cut together differently, of course, then it doesn't really matter to people, because most of people seeing it will be seeing it for the first time. And even the people who are seeing it for the second, third, fifth time, if they're following, if they're seeing the content, if they're engaging with it, it's probably because they like it and they want to support me, you, whoever we're talking about here as a creator. So I still think that's a valid point of moving forward. And then the mindset change that I had to do around that as well was that it couldn't be about result. It couldn't be about getting 1 million followers or whatever, getting 50,000 followers, because that's something that is out of your control, out of my control. I couldn't really force anything to happen. I could post a reel every single day. I could post 4 reels every single day. Would it have made the chances more likely to happen? Probably, yes. It probably has been that I've posted 1 reel every single day, but I do know people who've posted a reel once a week and still has gone viral and gotten like 20,000 followers. So really you can't anticipate exactly what's going to happen and if something's going to hit a viral trend or gonna be a viral trend or whatever's gonna happen. And then really for me as well, the consistency has been the main difference. To increase and improve what I could do with video, I needed to do something that could move me forward every single day. And that has been this, doing a very short video, like 5 to 15 seconds every single day, sometimes spending a lot of time on it, sometimes spending like 10 minutes on it. That's been the key difference, and feeling the consistency and feeling that you need to do it every single day, or at least for me, that has been a major influence in what's been happening now. And I've had people ask me like, oh, what happened if you skip one day? Will you still get the same result? And honestly, I don't know. Probably, maybe. But for me, that's a switch in mindset as well, because for me, having to do it every single day, having to post it every single day has made sure that I haven't skipped a day, and has kept me forward and kept me in the loop of like, I have to do it. And I know that if I give myself the excuse of skipping one day, then it's easy to skip another day and another day. And then all of a sudden I'm off track and I'm not doing it anymore. Probably relate to that in terms of eating healthy or working out or something like that. If you get into the bad loop or the bad habit of not doing it, then it's easy to kind of keep making up excuses to not do it. So that's why I've kept consistent at it, and it's really helped me in my life with different things. Right now I'm doing the same thing with YouTube for December 2022 that we're in right now of recording this video. I'm posting a YouTube video every single day, this being one of them, which is a major challenge for me. It takes way more time than doing a reel every single day. I'm still doing the reel every single day. But just to tell you that the consistency is what keeps you going. It's what gives you the results. It's not that one amazing video that you did, or one amazing reel, or one amazing YouTube video. It's the consistency. It's the consistency of keep going and keep doing it all the way through. That's what will get you the major results. So let's move forward. Starting without seeing any results, that would be, I think, discouraging for a lot of people going through that. For me, it was a little bit, but I knew from the get-go that I had to detach myself from the content, and that's what I did. So making something, posting it, and then it's living out there in the world, there's nothing more than I can do. I made the best piece of content that I could within the time frame that I set, within what I had available, within what I had shot, within the music that I could find on Instagram, all those things put together. That's what I could create that day. If it did well, perfect, amazing, nice, great. I love seeing high numbers. If it did bad or like had lower numbers, still great. Like I posted one, a new one the next day, so it doesn't really matter that much. And that's really helped me push through as well. Like if there was a week with bad performance, then okay, it's probably gonna do better next week. Or honestly, it doesn't really matter if it does better or not, because I was learning in the background. More on that in a minute. So basically, I think I gained 1,000 followers in 2.5 months or something like that, which is for my small account, pretty good, but it still felt a little bit discouraging seeing how some people were just blowing up from one reel and stuff like that. So it was definitely still a little bit tough, but keeping that mindset of detaching from the content and just keep pushing through and learning things from making the reels and not expecting results from posting the reels has really been the key difference in keeping it on through those 2.5-3 months. That was a kind of dead period. I think I had like 500 to 2,500 views on each reel that I posted, which is not a lot when you see people just blow up with millions of views all the time. So if that's what you try to compare to, and you shouldn't really compare, then that can be tough on mental health and all of this, I think. And then it all happened. Instagram completely exploded. 5 to 7 reels went viral. I already told you that earlier in this video, and it was kind of crazy. Like, I couldn't follow what was happening at all. It just kept growing, and there was bugs on the way as well, so numbers would go down and up, and still was detached from all of that. Like, I was sort of happy that it happened, but it's arbitrary, because you think when you have, or at least I did when I had a lower amount of following, of like, oh, maybe I'll be happier when I have a lot of followers, but I don't really feel different. And it has given a little bit more room for opportunities. Definitely gonna touch on that in the last part of this video, but just wanted to say that it doesn't feel different to have that many followers now, and the followers that sometimes comes from reels are not people that consistently stay and check out your content and your videos, which is also why a vast majority of all those people watching the reels and the views I'm getting is not from my followers, it's from people who are not following. So all of that kind of sums up to being something a little bit weird. I think back in the day, or like some years ago, when reels wasn't really a thing and you were growing from photos, I think it was different. It was more of like a community feeling, and I still feel there is that on Instagram, but it's changed. There's a lot of people just consuming those video reels and not really caring as much about the content that's actually being made. And saying that, I've also posted a reel every single day for 6 months, so I haven't put the same kind of feeling and effort and personality into each video. There is a personal touch on it, and I've grown into like the color grading space from that, seeing a trend, kind of moving into it and exploring that and making some kind of trends myself, I think has been part of what's been a fun journey for me in doing it. And now I can definitely use this amount of followers to grow even more and grow this YouTube channel and get brand deals and all that stuff. So it's not to neglect that that's come something nice of this, but just to say that you can achieve a lot of these things without having all these followers, and it doesn't mean that you just earn a ton of money all of a sudden. So onto the last part, just saying again that it's stagnated and it's kind of stuck now. I think I've been getting 500 followers in the last 3 weeks or something like that, which is not impressive at all compared to how many I've gotten in the past months before that. And I did expect this to happen, and I think a lot of people would again get discouraged from having seen this huge result, this huge peak, and then having kind of a low again and not seeing that result, and now seeing that it's not getting as many views, it's not getting the reach that it was before. Why is that happening? Like, it was going so great. And for me, that's just knowing that everything goes up and down, and maybe I'll have a new period where my reels just hit everything and it goes viral. And you definitely implement strategies to have things go viral and kind of things that people want to watch and grab people's attention with text and effects and everything like that. And I'm not, as said, the goal for me has not been to grow that Instagram. It's been to do other things and use the reels to do that. So it's been a perk that it's grown, but it's not been a goal. And that's why I haven't tried to implement strategies into trying to get from A to B or trying to grow a lot of followers or something like that. So just to say that it's to expect, no matter what, I think that the reach will drop again, and being detached from all of that and being detached from all of like having no feelings in the content and what I'm doing with this has definitely helped that as well. It makes it easier to just keep going, because now I don't really feel that much towards one piece of content, because I'm happy to make all of it, and it's a sum of all of it that makes me happy. And the result of doing something every day and seeing the improvements, that's been the great part of it, not seeing the followers grow. That's very nice as well, but it's definitely not the main priority and main thing here. And of course, it still is better than it was before, as I now have reels going between 5,000 and 10,000 views usually as the bare minimum, whereas was 500 to 2,500 before. I have a monthly reach of like 400, 500,000 accounts, I think. So things are still better than they were before. It's not to say that everything's just dropped down to where it was. I think there's a new like bottom level. And then the exciting thing will be one day to see when I start posting a reel every single day, what's going to happen then. I'm hoping to maybe do one entire year. That could be kind of like a fun achievement for myself, I think, while it sounds a little bit insane. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe something else comes around and I won't do it. Anything is open for the future. But that's kind of been the timeline that I've been moving through in all of this, posting a reel every single day for 6 months. So just to touch on the few last points here before we end the video. What has been the 3 most important things that I've learned through this? The first one has been to detach myself from the content. I've been speaking of that throughout this entire video. Not having personal feelings into all this, especially doing something like video, photos. When you start doing client work, if that's something you want to do, you need to have a level of detachment from what you're creating, because the client will want to have their opinion and they want to be heard unless you have full creative freedom. But I do not believe that you have that in the beginning until you have like a brand or a name. So I feel it's important, at least for me, to know that I can detach myself from it. I can get through it. I can do it. I can still be proud of what I made, but it doesn't necessarily follow exactly what I wanted. And I don't need to have a lot of feelings involved in it. I can just detach myself, get the job done, and then move on to the next piece. The second thing has been that I've become so much faster at editing videos. It's crazy how everything is just tactile now. Like all the commands, all the shortcuts is just kind of like stored into my memory and my fingers. So now I can just move through and I can edit a lot faster, which has helped moving into this new challenge that I'm doing with YouTube, as I'm way faster at editing these longer videos as well now, because I've edited so many of those short ones. And then the last one is kind of like something that I fell into, which I think is kind of funny. Like everyone says, oh, you need to find your niche and then you need to push through that. Maybe that's true for some and maybe it's not. I mean, I didn't really do that. I was just kind of like in the travel niche, but it's not really a niche. It's way too broad. So I was just kind of like finding my way through it. And then I found color grading, which was something that I terribly sucked at. And then I started getting into it. I moved from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve. And I just watched a ton of YouTube videos while I was doing the reels, because doing those 5 to 15 second videos every day, I could try and do a little bit more with my color grading on each of them. And then through that, I learned so much and I became so much better at color grading. And it's kind of been fused into one of my professional services now that I do, because I've been studying it so hard for 4 or 5 months now throughout this period. And because I do this full time, I've had the privilege of diving into it deep and learning. And now I get to teach you on here on YouTube as well. But that's kind of been best parts of this journey, has been to see how I've improved. It's so funny to look back to some of those first videos from 6 months ago, where they just look terrible compared to what I can do now. And I knew that when I started, but I think one of the tough things can be that you know that you're gonna suck when you begin, and you might think, oh, this is the best thing that I've ever made. And then when you look back and it's 6 months later, you're like, poof, that's not really great. But the thing is that it's part of the journey and it's something that you have to do. You have to get through that part to learn, to know that it's where you're going. You can't learn without doing it. Quantity will still beat quality. Saying again, posting a reel every single day for 6 months has probably beat posting a reel once a week for 6 months. There's a lot more quantity in that. And even though every reel won't go viral and do a lot good or get a lot of reach or whatever, you'll learn a lot more throughout the way, and you have a higher chance of going viral, of seeing results, of all that stuff. And then for the very last point, because that's something that people ask me all the time when they ask me if I can do camera giveaways and stuff on Instagram now. Do I earn a lot of money from having a lot of followers? No, not at all. But the one thing that I will say is that brands and companies that I reach out to now are way more common to reply to my messages than it was before, which is arbitrary. I have gotten a lot better, and I think that I'm at a more professional level now than I was 6 months ago. No doubt about that. But I think that I could still have been at 2,000 followers and made this incredible content now, and I probably wouldn't have gotten as many responses as I do now. There is also something that I've seen with Instagram when you have, I think, about 10,000 followers or more. Then if you comment or like or something like that, you will go to the top of the notifications when you go into the notification menu on Instagram. Whereas when you are below 10,000 followers, you will just go into the bunch. So I think that helps in terms of reaching out to brands and stuff like that as well. But that's not to discourage anything. I think you can definitely still make a career out of all of this without having a lot of followers. And as I said, it hasn't really done that much more for me. I think you can get around selling things online, doing all of these things if you want to without a huge following. Huge following is nice. I love building this community. I love having all of you watch my videos, and both on Instagram and here on YouTube. So no doubt about that. But I'm just trying to kind of like push out that you don't need a massive following to do all of these things. Definitely not, and especially not to do client work and brand work. The way that you get to that can be different, and I'm still on my journey with that, but I think we will end the video here. Thank you so much for watching this. If you made it all the way through this rambling talk, I hope it made sense and it gave some perspective into what kind of journey it's been to make a reel every single day for 6 months. And I so appreciate you being here and building this community on YouTube. I feel like it's a much stronger one than doing the reels on Instagram. So I'm super excited to keep doing this and keep pushing YouTube as well. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care until then. I'll see you.